Hi, I'm Mitch Shoemaker, and today is day 58 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and celebrating myself. So, yay, I made it to day 58. And I realized that in 58 days that I have not actually celebrated myself. I mean, I have. I've been celebrating different things about myself, but I haven't done a day focused on just myself and me as a whole person and personality and all of me all combined together, which I imagine doing 100 days of would cover most of all of me, or maybe all of me. I don't really know, actually. Because I keep discovering new things about myself, and I am trying to learn more things and new things and trying open to trying new things. So I think I'm constantly changing and growing, so I'm not ever exactly the same person. Similar personality, similar person kind of a thing, same goals, that sort of a thing. So in that regard I'm the same person, but I I do learn, I do change, I think I get better at how I treat myself, how I treat other people. So myself is constantly changing, and I'm constantly trying to figure myself out because I don't really understand myself. So I don't expect any of you watching these videos to actually understand me any better than I do. By the time I'm done with these, maybe you will. Maybe you have more insights into me than I have into myself. I don't know. Anyway, I think God knows me better than anyone, including myself, and I rely a great deal on His guidance to help me figure out which way I'm going and what I'm supposed to be doing, and to help me get up and go when I don't feel like getting up and going, or to give myself a break and let myself take a rest or take some time off if I need to. So it's kind of one of those things. Anyway, I just was thinking, I of all the things I've celebrated, myself hasn't been one of them, and maybe it's because when I started this, I didn't have very I didn't really see myself with a whole lot of value and I or self esteem, or as myself as something to celebrate or someone amazing that should be celebrated. Um, Not something or someone that's spectacular or amazing or all of those things. And then I'm doing these videos and I'm like, hey, I'm pretty spectacular, pretty amazing, I'm pretty cool. I I do a lot more things than I realize I do. I just focus on all the things that I don't do, or I focus too much on comparing myself to who I think I'm supposed to be or what I think I'm supposed to do, when that's just not who I am. Because I'm not a neat freak. I am not a clean person. I am not even an organized mess. I'm just a mess. Um, my biological mom used to say that she was an organized mess, or she had organized chaos or something, because she knew where everything was and her piles of papers and things everywhere. But it's like, don't mess with her mess, because then she couldn't find things. I have piles of papers and things everywhere, and it's not remotely organized, and I can't find things. So I would love to be organized, but I am not an organized person. But that's okay, because I do other things. I journal, I read, I entertain myself with these YouTube videos, hopefully entertain other people as well doing these YouTube videos. I write, I do random poems. Um, I I'm just I'm just me. I'm just weird, silly, daydream, and very imaginative, creative. Not really artistic, not really into scrapbooking things. That's not my thing. I just don't like nah. That's kind of boring to me. Coloring, I don't really get into that either. I have sisters that love to color. I'm like, that's awesome, and it's relaxing for some people. Writing is relaxing to me. Playing games is relaxing to me. Mental stimulus things are more interesting to me. Things that make my brain think. Puzzles, I like those kinds of things. I'm not good at any of them, by the way. I just like them. I find them to be entertaining. I like to watch shows that do that. That kind of like you have to think about how they do that, fit all the clues together. I love watching them fit all the clues together. But unlike my sister-in-law and other people in my life, they start watching, like, oh yeah, this is going to be this, and it's going to be that, and this, and this. And I'm like, okay, stop spoiling it for me, because I am completely clueless as how this is going to turn out. And I want to watch them figure it out, because I figure it out as we go. And then I rewatch the movie multiple times so I can catch all the other clues and things that I didn't get, because I find that very entertaining, like the paycheck. can't tell you how many times I've watched that movie trying to count all the different items and when he uses all the different items and how he figures out his whole, like, everything that he forgot. So, I mean, I like things like that. Um, so it's just, I'm realizing that there's a lot of different things about me, and I've had lots of different types of jobs, and I kind of feel sometimes like I'm one of those jack of all trades, except that I'm not an expert in any one area, but I know a little bit about a lot of things. That's right. I know a little bit about a lot of things, and I can do a little of a lot of things. So I know I'm smart enough to figure out things if I have to. Like I bought one of those. I don't know what you call them, those rolling kitchen island things, and I had to put it together, self-assemble kind of a thing. I broke it and had to get a part replaced on it because I put it together wrong and then tried to fix it. And yeah, anyway. And I think it was kind of a little bit crooked, but I think that's because they put the parts, lined up the holes wrong, and they already pre-drilled holes. I didn't drill the holes, so it's not my fault the cupboards didn't line up exactly because I put the screws in where they were supposed to go. So it didn't line up. It was, the manufacturer's fault. I'm sticking to that story because I like that story the best. But I figured out how to do it following the instructions. It took a while, and some of it you had to do based on the pictures because they have crappy instructions. So I know that I'm perfectly capable of doing things, but I also prefer to play the damsel in distress and get someone else to do it for me so I don't have to. I'm very good at getting somebody else to do things for me so I don't have to because I don't know. I just don't like to put forth a whole lot of effort. That's just me. I don't know if that makes me lazy or not. I just think, I think I learned to be a little too manipulative from my biological mother, and I'm trying to learn not to be manipulative and getting other people to do things for me. And then, of course, I get surprised when I'm not expecting people to do things for me because I'm trying to do everything myself. I have this thing with extremes. I'm a very extreme person, one or the other. I have a very hard time finding the balance in the middle. So I go from, trying to get everybody else to do everything for me so I don't have to do anything to I'm going to be Wonder Woman and do everything myself. I literally go betwixt the two. It's kind of it's a little bit insane sometimes, and sometimes I feel overwhelmed by doing everything, which is why I turn around and want everyone else to do everything for me, so I don't have to. But finding the balance is tricky, but I think I'm learning a little bit. I'm also learning that I only need to ask for what I need and not ask for everything, because then it's a little overwhelming to other people, and they're not willing to help with everything, but they are willing to help with little things, kind of doing that with all of my medical stuff with my injury and trying to get all of that sorted out and needing a little extra help and trying to find the best way to ask for it, or just kind of burning myself out right now, which is probably not the best idea, but I do that. I burn myself out on things until I'm like, I've done this so much, I'm just done. Kind of getting that way with these videos where I've just been doing them for so long. I'm like, I'm done. That is also part of my personality that I, one, I don't like to be bored. I think I did a video on that. But also that I do something for so long and it's like, okay, I'm just kind of burned out on that. I need a break. I need to do something else because something else is, I don't know. I just need something else. I need another challenge. I need something new. I can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Hence the jack of all trades. Maybe this should be I'm celebrating that I'm a jack of all trades type of a person instead of celebrating myself. But that's kind of how I see myself a little bit, as like a jack of all trades. I know how to do a little bit of everything, and I don't know how to do anything perfectly. And I'm okay, okay with that. I also know I'm learning how to ask for help so that I don't have to do everything, because like I said, I either want someone else to do everything for me or I want to do it all myself. So I am the extremist, one extreme or the other, on just about everything that I do. And I am the jack of all trades, and I will learn something until I get bored with it or get frustrated to the point that I can't do it anymore. I'm like, I can't figure it out, so I'm frustrated. I'm like, and if I get frustrated and I can't figure something out, I would love to say that I just quit doing it. But I have this kind of obsessive personality, I think. And so if it's something like a logic puzzle or something that I've been working on for a really long time, I feel like I have to do it. Like I become obsessed with figuring it out. And then once I figure it out, I'm like, yes, I'm done. And then I'm like, never doing that again. It's very true. I'm like, I figured it out and I'm done. And I'm like, I'm never doing that again. which is crazy. But I do have other projects that I'm like, I know how to do, and I've been doing it for so long. Like I have this counter cross stitch project I started with a bunch of cats, and then it got to the point where it's like you have this whole, I don't know, like a third of it that's just black stitches all the way across, and it's like just black. And after a while, I was like, I'm just bored of crocheting, cross stitching black. So I never finished it, which is really sad. And it's somewhere in my house, and I keep thinking I need to finish that cat project because it would be cool, and then I could, mat it, and then I could either give it to someone or I could hang it up somewhere and be like, I'm proud of my, display my artwork, whatever that I did. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm kind of bored with that. And a few years ago, my sister sent me a bird, which looked really cool to do the counter cross stitch. And I got out all the stuff and I'm like, man, this is tedious. This is a whole lot of work. I'm like, I used to do this all the time. Yeah, I'm done with this. I gave it to somebody else that was doing counter cross stitch all the time. And I've done that with my crochet too. I need to get back into crocheting. I actually still like that one. I'm not completely burned out on it, but it's very time consuming. And of course, I always think I can do it faster than I actually can. And I have several crochet projects. So I'm kind of like, I want to work on other stuff as far as crocheting goes. But I feel like I have to finish the projects that I've started, which is another problem that I have because I'm not really interested in the projects I started. I want to do new projects, which is what I love about crocheting because I can always find new things to learn how to crochet and new patterns that I can figure out. And so it makes it entertaining for me because I can constantly learn a new pattern or new stitches, or I can make up my own, which I did with the scarves that I made for my nephews for Christmas, which is awesome. But I have projects that have patterns that I already know how to do, and I'm promised them to other people years ago, and they're not finished. They're just sitting there. And I was just like, I feel kind of bad that I haven't finished these projects for these people that I promised them, and I'm just bored with doing it. I'm just like, seriously. I have issues, really, I do. I don't finish projects when I get bored of them because like I know how to do it, and I've done it for so long, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm just burned out and I'm done. So that is another part of me, something that I wish that I would finish them, because if it's something that's hard that I can't figure out how to do, I would become obsessed with and try to figure it out. And then when I'm done with it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so exhausting. This is awesome. I accomplished this, and now I'm done. Which I think might also be something with my writing, because I've written a couple of books, and I'm very proud of the fact that I wrote them. But now I'm to the point where I have to continue to revise them, and I'm so done with I'm like, I want to be a published author. I want to get these out there, and it'll be so cool. And I could literally just publish the crap that I wrote, but it won't sell if I publish it that way. So I want it to be edited. I wanted it to be nice. I want other people, so I need other people to help me with that part to get it to where it's nice and published and all of those wonderful things. And that would be awesome. But I just feel like it's, like I do it and I'm proud of my work, and then I send it to beta readers, and then I get all these questions back, and then I redo it, and then I just don't know how many times I have to redo it before I can say, okay, it's good enough, I'm publishing it. I also just don't know how many times I can make myself redo it, because like I said, I do projects for so long, and so then my brain's like, well, I'll just write the other stories, but I'm like, then I'm going to end up with like 20 stories that are not published, that are all written all really cool. I've written all these books, and they're just not good enough to publish. And I really want to get them published. So I figure if I can learn how to do it with the first couple of books that I have 3 at this point. And I've rewritten 2 of them. One of them I've rewritten like twice already. So, and one of them I need to rewrite again. But, because yeah, I wrote Recognizing God's Hand in My Life, but I just kind of just spewed all the ideas down, so it wasn't really, and then I revised it, and I need to revise it again, and then I did Lanoia multiple times, I think, and then I wrote The Fall of Espinglandia, but I have not, I rewrote the beginning of it multiple times, and then I think I'm finally good with the first chapter, but I have rewritten the beginning of that book so many times. I'm just like, seriously. But it did kind of help to write Lanoia and finish Lanoia like the second or third time in order to get that first chapter. So it feels like it's finally good. And then I shared it in my last writing group, and they're like, oh yeah, that's actually pretty good. There's still just a lot of characters, kind of confusing, but I think if we were like reading along, it might be less confusing. And seeing as how there's a prequel book before that it explains who all the characters are, they're like, yeah, it's pretty good. We can go with that. I'm like, yes, finally got the first chapter of this book right to rewrite it. And it's like, I don't know, 24 chapters long. And I have one rewritten. I got up to 7 at one point, but then I started over again. So now I'm going back through all of it. And it's just, it's daunting. It's overwhelming to me because it's that going back through and seeing all of my mistakes and all the things that I have learned and having to go back and change it, and still in the process of finding my, I guess my writing voice, and how I write and how to connect to the readers. And that's the thing. I'm like, I can write it, but I don't know how much I'm connecting to readers. Just like my videos, I'm doing these videos, but I don't feel like I'm connecting to people watching them. Maybe because lots of people don't know about them, or just not connecting to people. I'm very much an introvert of a person myself is, and I just, very much, I'm good at just hanging out with myself. I mean, not entirely. I like spending time with other people, but sometimes I like spending time with other people, but sometimes I feel like I'm draining on other people, and sometimes I feel like people are draining on me. Not in a bad way in either sense of the word, but sometimes I feel like I'm just super needy with all of my stuff, and I spend the entire time talking to the other person and telling them everything that's going on in my life. And then I realize after we leave that I'm like, oh wait, I forgot to ask what they're doing in their life and how they're doing. I didn't share the conversation. I kind of monopolized this person. And of course it made me feel good to get all that stuff off my chest, but then I feel bad because I didn't, do the same for the other person. But I've also been in the reverse where the other person is doing all of that and I'm listening and giving and giving and giving. And sometimes that's draining. I mean, it really is. If I haven't filled myself up, if I'm not reading my scriptures and meditationals and writing, and I'm not in a good place, and then other people are like, Colin, help me. And I'm like, okay. I have a really hard time saying no. So I say, okay. And then I do whatever it is that they, want. And then I just feel even more exhausted because they drained me. I allowed them to drain me. I let them, give them my energy or whatever to kind of help boost them up. And sometimes helping other people and saying things that helps them sometimes helps me too. So it can be a positive thing, but sometimes it's just exhausting listening to someone, especially when I'm not in the mood to do it. And they are telling me the same story over and over and over again. And then I realized that I do the same thing with other people and I say the same story over and over and over again. And I was like, dang, I want my friends to learn their lesson. Maybe I should learn my own. I see other people, I realize that they kind of mirror me in my life. And so if there's things that they're doing that's annoying me, I realize that maybe I do that too. So I'm really good at reflecting on myself. Sometimes not always in a positive way. I am learning to reflect on myself in a more positive way to where I can actually learn and grow and become better. Or at the very least, if I'm going to share everything with someone, I at least try to. On the flip side, when we're done, I'm like, okay, how about you? What's going on in your life? Let them share back. So it's not always all about me. I am realizing that it's not always all about me, and that sometimes when people are upset or having a bad day or not responding to me, it's not got anything to do with me. It's got to do with whatever else is going on in their lives, that I don't take it as personally anymore. But I still have a tendency to take things too personally, and I still have a tendency to overreact because I said I do the extremes. So I'm like extremely mellow, depressed, whatever, or I'm extremely overreacting to everything. I kind of sound bipolar right now. Maybe I am. I don't know. Anyway, never been diagnosed with that. Not that doctors ever pay attention to what's going on with me anyway. I went to tons of doctors growing up, and my biological mom always told them what was wrong with me, and I go to doctors now and tell them what's wrong with me, and they completely ignore me and tell me to do something that's completely unrelated to my problems. So, or they tell me what I need to do to fix it. They just don't tell me how, and it's like, great. Now I have an idea as to something that's going wrong with my life or my body, and I need to do things to fix it, but you're not going to tell me how to fix it. You're just going to tell me to fix it. Like I have no idea how to do that. But thank you so much for your, taking all of my money to tell me nothing. Not having fun with doctors at this point. I've had some good ones. I have had some good ones. So I know that there are excellent doctors out there, and I am grateful to know that they are. It's just a matter of finding the right ones, and not going to go to the ones that I was going to before anymore, because I'm learning. I am learning that I don't have to. Sorry, I would try not to itch my nose. It's just itchy. Okay. Yes, I randomly do things. I'm a random person, hence the randomness video that I did before. But I am learning that I don't have to take everyone or everything at face value like I used to. Or I don't always have to believe that every doctor I go see knows what they're talking about, and that I'm just going to have to sit in the dark. Because I'm like, I don't have to do that, you know. And I talked to my sister, my older sister, and I was talking to my younger sister yesterday, actually, which was kind of nice. But we kind of both mentioned something about our older sister and her medical thing, and we both think that she should get a second opinion or see a different doctor. And whether or not she will actually do that, I don't know, because my older sister is kind of taught a lot like me, that it's like you get one answer and that's the only answer there is. There isn't another answer. And if you don't understand that answer, it's too bad, because that's the only answer you're ever going to get. And it doesn't matter who you ask or who you talk to, that's the answer. That's not true. That's not true. That's how we were treated. That's what we were told. That's just, you know, what we did. So, but I'm learning that I can speak up for myself, that I can say what I need to say that works for me. That I can listen to other people, and I can take their advice, or I cannot take their advice, and I can do what's best for myself, what's best for me, and basically what I feel like God wants me to do for myself. So I did that. I've been talking to my dad Shoemaker. I love him, and he's been giving me lots of advice, which is helpful, but he is, you know, expecting me to get a lot more out of this, or push for more, and I'm not doing it. I'm much more the person that's just going to let it go, that just doesn't want to make waves and doesn't want to make things more complicated than they have to be. And very much so in a place where I'm trying to be financially independent and emotionally independent, and just trying to take care of myself as the best I can, which right now is very difficult because of the medication that I'm taking and the injuries that I have. Makes it very difficult for me to have energy to stay focused. But I'm finding gratitude in all of that as well, because I'm just seeing how much God's hand is in my life, how much the Lord is blessing me and helping me and giving me just what I need. And recognizing that I myself can do a lot more than I give myself credit for, that God is helping to give me the strength and energy to do as much as I possibly can, to where I feel like I'm being Wonder Woman multiple days away. I'm just pushing myself to the edge as far as I can, but I'm also asking for help, and I'm recognizing that I need to make some other changes in my life, because I am learning to value myself and my body, and I want to have more energy. I want to feel better, and oddly enough, this medication kind of forces me to eat regularly, and so I have to pay attention to what I'm eating, and I have to eat on a regular basis, because I notice if I don't eat, it makes me really sick. So I have to eat in order to not be sick, in order to function, which is actually a really good thing, because I need to eat and drink more water, and I don't do those things. I'm very I wait until I'm like super hungry, and I'm like, okay, I'll eat something. And I was visiting my friend today, and she was telling me I should do like intermittent fasting things, and I was like, not on this medication. I can't do that on the medication I'm taking. And I'm pretty sure intermittent fasting is probably not good for me right now, because I've spent so many years not eating food and fasting far too much unintentionally, but just, not with prayer or purpose behind it, just not choosing not to eat, basically. Which is not healthy for me. And I have been told that sometimes your body, if you don't eat regularly, it thinks that you're starving it. And then when you do eat, or in this case, when I do eat, I kind of pig out and I eat all the wrong things, and then my body stores it all as fat, and then I just keep gaining weight even though I'm not eating. So in order to get my metabolism back on track, I need to eat regularly, and I need to eat healthier foods. So it was really interesting to me to recognize how much I know myself, I'm learning that with going to doctors and dealing with his injury. Like, I know there's something else wrong, and I just keep getting the runaround or being told that it's no big deal, it's going to heal, it's not whatever. And I'm like, no, there is something seriously wrong here. And I was right. There was something seriously wrong. Not quite what I expected it to be, but it was something, seriously wrong. And I'm grateful that I've figured that out by seeing the right doctors. I didn't give up on myself. I believed in myself and I listened to my body for once. Um, I also found it to be rather interesting that when I went to my friends today, my Brazilian friend, she was helping me like look over diets and foods and what foods are healthy to eat and what foods aren't healthy to eat, and giving her a list of like what foods they like, what foods they don't, and maybe getting her to go shopping with me to help me get healthier foods. And as I was leaving there and I was thinking about it, I was like, yeah, my park friend is right. I usually, when we go out to eat or go places, I always try to pick the healthier foods because I like them, but I like when somebody else makes it so I don't have to. That's the damsel in distress in me. I want someone else to do it because I don't like cooking food. It's very time consuming to me, and when I'm hungry, I just want to eat. I don't want to have to make the food first. And I don't really care for the whole prepping food beforehand so you could just throw it all together to eat it. That's just never my thing. Baking, on the other hand, that is my thing. I love to bake, but I can't always eat baked goods because that's not healthy for me. But I found it to be really interesting that there's two things that I have been thinking, well, maybe three, but I need to like buy food, like go grocery shopping and make food from home instead of going out to eat and buying fast food stuff because that's not healthy. And then I've been thinking for probably over a year now that I need to go gluten free. And I mostly, well, when I buy stuff from the stores, or fast food, I can't guarantee that it's dairy free. But when I buy groceries from the store, I always do dairy free. So if I would just buy and make things at home, I could make gluten free and dairy free, and then I would be making things at home, and I would eat healthier, and I would probably eat more often because I actually have food in my house instead of, oh, I just don't want to eat because I don't have money to go buy something, or I just don't want to leave the house to go get food. So, but I just thought it was interesting that I already knew this stuff about me, and all of the things in the list that she had on there. I'm like, oh yeah, but all the green things are things that I like to eat. They're things that I would do, and I'm not really interested in some of the red or the yellow. I mean, some of it I am as far as foods that I shouldn't eat, but for the most part, I was like, yeah, I already knew what I needed to do. So even going and seeing my friend and looking at the list, I'm like, yeah, pretty much the same thing I already knew that I needed to do to take care of myself. I just haven't been doing it. But I kind of feel like this medication that I'm taking and this injury that I have, in order for me to heal, that I'm going to have to do these things, which is really frustrating because it requires me to have time and money and energy to go shopping and to clean my kitchen and to make things myself, which is exhausting when I'm already exhausted. And I'm like, I'm making myself go to work so I can pay the bills. I don't know how much more I can make myself do, but I think I would feel healthier if I do that. So that's just more of myself and all of my weird random things that I have to deal with. But it's just interesting how to recognize in that how much I do actually know myself, and I do know what I need. I don't always do what I need or give myself what I need or ask for what I need, but I pretty much know what I need, and I'm usually pretty right when it comes to myself. Um, but I don't know that everyone else always is. And other people always have opinions, which are sometimes very helpful, and sometimes they're just like way out in left field as far as I'm concerned. And I'm just like, you don't really know me very well if you think I'm going to do that, because that's just not going to happen. So, anyway, sorry, I'm leaning in because one of those little things flashed up on my phone, and it's that my battery is dying, which means I guess I am done talking about myself, because otherwise it will die in the middle of this video, and I have no idea what's going to happen to this video, and I do not want to do it again, because again, that is me. Myself does not like to repeat things. Don't like to do the repetitious stuff. I like to figure it out once and I'm done, and I want to learn something new. But life is full of repetition, so I am having to learn how to deal with repetition and having to learn how to take better care of myself. And in so doing, I feel better and I will have more energy, That is the goal. I was talking to my sister. She was telling me how much more energy she has by drinking more water. And I was like, crap, I need to keep better track of how much water I drink and drink more water. So, again, all these things that I already know about myself. I don't always take care of myself or do the things that I know about myself, but maybe I would feel better if I did. And and myself is kind of, like I said, all over the place because I'm a jack of all trades, a little bit of everything, not perfect at any one thing, not an expert at any one thing, but love to do lots of different things, as you can see in all of my videos. So that is me, myself, and I, at least for today. Maybe different tomorrow, who knows. Anyway, if you like these videos, you can hit like, subscribe, share with someone else if you think they'll like it too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude. Find some fun ways to celebrate yourself and maybe do some writing.